What's up, YouTube? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards here for a Marvel video. Today, we're going to kind of recap slash break down the box of 90 Marvel Universe that I ripped live on the channel a few days ago. So I kind of wanted to go through everything, sort through everything, and then kind of like break down once I got a chance to sort and inspect everything, how many gradable cards I feel like I got out of that box. Now, obviously, grades are not guaranteed, but I took my best guess, and we will see how we do. So, like, comment, sub down below, all the YouTube stuff. You guys know the drill. Let's get into it. So, anyone that watched it live knows that I ran into a fairly significant issue with the box that I opened. There was some type of wax slash grease marking on the back of a lot of my cards. I have a couple of them here. It is kind of hard to see on camera. You can see it right there. U-shaped mark right there. And it looks worse in person than it does on camera. You can see both those cards have it. What it is, I don't know. During the live, I would say 3/4 of my cards had this mark on it. Needless to say, it was a little depressing. Luckily, after the fact, so after I got off camera, I was able to get this off. It was not easy, but it wasn't hard, if that makes sense. It was definitely a pain in the butt. I ripped that Saturday. It took me most of Saturday afternoon and on and off most of Sunday to get all the cards cleaned up. So essentially what I had to do was actually took my iPad, I have an iPad Pro, covered it with a microfiber cloth, like the back case, had it on my lap, and laid the card face down on the microfiber, had another microfiber in my hand, held this card in place, and then had to essentially rub it out, if you will. So I had to rub out, if you will, about 3/4 of a box of Marvel cards, however many that is. I forget the math. I'm bad at math. To get that stain off there. But it was well worth it, because otherwise this box would have been essentially nearly worthless. Because like I said, 3/4 of the card had that mark on it. Now, the other thing, and I noticed this while I was ripping, but I didn't realize how, I don't want to say bad it was, but how many cards it was actually on. The quarter of the box that did not have that mark on it, which this was the weird part. So all the cards that had that mark on it did not have the second thing I'm about to show you on it. So the other thing that I noticed on a lot of them, and I pulled this one out to show, this is also not very easy to see. There is, so on Mr. Sinister here, right about there, I don't know how well you could see it, right above that card, there's almost like a print line that runs all the way across it. You can see it a little bit there in the red going across his face. Very faint print line. And it's on the back too. Once again, harder to see. You can kind of see it there going almost right above his, if you look at his left ear hole, see that little darker red spot coming out of his ear? That's a line that goes all the way across the card, front and back. Probably 1/4 of my box had that mark on it, but none of those cards had this staining issue on it. So 3/4 of the box had this, 1/4 of the box had this. Luckily, 3/4 of the box I was able to save. This quarter, most of them I don't think are gradable, because here's the thing. It's not just a print line. When I run my fingers over it, I can actually feel it. So I don't know if it was the way, like if this box was sitting on a wire rack or something, and it was the way the pressure was pushing down on like a certain stack of packs. I don't know. But that was a third of them, or a fourth of them rather. So 1/4 of the box was like that. 3/4 of the box had the wax stain, and there was a handful of cards that were basically fine out of the pack. But I was able to salvage the wax stain, or I'm going to call it a wax stain. I don't think it was actually wax, but that's what I'm going to call it for lack of a better term. So in front of us on the desk, and you can't see over here. Let me push these together a little bit more, get everything on camera as best as I can. So these are all hero cards. These are all villains. These are all famous battles. Team cards, covers. I forget what this pile is. That's cover. No. Oh, the Spider-Man Presents stack and rookies. All these I did not pull out for grading. Now, that could be because I don't think the character is worth grading. Like, I'm not sending in a high evolutionary, for example, at least not at this point. My first pass through here was for major key characters and things that I think have higher potential. But a lot of these, I don't think are gradable, because anything that was remotely gradable that was a non-key, if you will, I'm going to use that term. It's a good comic book term. I put in this pile. These are not in card savers. This is stuff that I think could 9 or 10. I'm not in a big hurry to send it in. I don't think it's high value stuff for the most part. I would probably send it on like a bulk submission or a regular submission at like $10 or $25 a card or whatever, and see it in half a year. So that's what this stuff is. So not a big pile. And you could see how many back here I don't think make the cut, period. Let's start at the top and we will work our way down. So A-list, absolutely must send the PSA as fast as possible, and probably going express level, super express level rather, at $200 a card. Yeah, $200 a card is this little pile right here. Now, I was ultra selective on these because it's $200 a card. But we have one Stan Lee, one black suit, a second black suit, and a third black suit. And then one Wolverine in the classic yellow. I was blessed by Black Suit Spider-Man. I was not blessed by Avengers. Iron Man, Cap, Thor, Hulk, all those guys. I do not have, and any of those would have been in this pile. I don't have any in this pile. They're in another pile. We'll talk about it in a minute. And a lot of my Wolverines had little minor dings or issues. I pulled 4 Spider-Man black suits. All 4 were dead centered, and all 4 had the ink stain on the back, or wax stain. I was sick because it's like, these are nearly perfectly centered cards. They look great, and I have this stupid staining issue on it that's basically ruining these 4 cards. But I was lucky enough to be able to get it off without damaging the card. So this right here basically could make or break the box. I'm hoping for at least 3 to 4 10s here. I don't think I'm taking a risk on this one. I think this is probably a 9. It could 10. It's a little off centered. Other than that, it looks pretty good, so I'm risking it. But I think it's worth the risk, because PSA 9s, I'll still be able to make a profit on the 200 grading fee, most likely. So that's these 5 of the A-listers. Holograms, I don't think I got anything gradable. Magneto was absolutely beat to hell. Top pack of the top of the box. And you can see all those markings on there. All from where? Because I'm guessing it was just sitting in that top pack, and as the box, every time the box moved or shook, it was just rubbing on it. So that's that. Spider-Man versus Green Goblin. This is pretty nice. It is off-centered left to right. I may end up sending this one. It definitely has a few surface issues, and there's really no good way to clean these at all. I'm afraid to even put a microfiber on it, to be quite honest. But looks good, and this is the error variation, which means it was an earlier box, typically, from the way I understand it. And it has to do with the way that his finger is pointing at Spider-Man. Something with a gap there or something. I forget the specifics on that one. And then I did pull one Cosmic Spider-Man as well, but it is royally off-centered. You can see right to left is way off. Maybe this could PSA 8. I don't know. There's some surface stuff on it too. These are just so hard to get clean. So maybe I would grade these at some point in like a super slow submission. The Magneto is toast though. It's like absolutely toast. So that one's not doing anything. This pile is all stuff I think has a legit shot at a PSA 10, regardless of character type or card. So this is heroes, villains, the whole 9 yards, some B list, some C list, etc. So we have, trying to get it in front of the camera as best as possible. Moon Knight, Luke Cage, Juggernaut, an Ultron, 2 Doc Ocks, an X-Men, Wolverine Most Valuable Cover for Wolverine #1, Tales from Suspense, first Iron Man, first Punisher, first Thor, Amazing Spider-Man, first Avengers, and then some famous battles, a Hulk versus Spider-Man, Spider-Man versus Goblin, Wolverine versus Sabretooth, and Hulk versus Spider-Man again. So those, I think, all have a fairly legit shot at a 10. I am still debating how I want to submit those. I know that they're not going super express. I'll probably pull out the Spider-Man and Wolverine stuff and send it regular at $50 a card and be a little bit more patient with that. And then the non-key stuff like Moon Knight, Luke Cage, etc., I will probably send through a group submitter on a regular service level. So $25 to $28 a card, and see it in like 4 to 5 months, most likely. This stack is probably PSA 9s, but keys. So you can see we have Stan Lee, Mr. Marvel card, Wolverine yellow suit. This is a lot of Wolverine in here. Wolverine brown suit, another Wolverine brown suit, Patch, Black Panther, Cap on the motorcycle, and a Hulk. I personally feel like everything in that pile is probably a PSA 9, and maybe I'll get lucky and something will swing to a 10. Most of the issues, in fact, that issue is purely centering. I don't like something about the centering. The rest of the card looks clean. Like on Stan here, this is hard to tell on camera. It's heavy on the top, light on the bottom. Wolverine, light on the top, heavy on the bottom. Brown suit, heavy on the right, light on the left. I'm not going to go through the whole pile, but you get the gist. There is something with all of these. This one was light on the top, heavy on the bottom. So those I think are PSA 9s, and maybe we get lucky on a 10. Now, those are all key cards. Like a PSA 9 in Stan Lee is pretty good. So there's a good chance I will send these out at regular service at $50 a card, depending on the number in there, and with mixed in with a few of these. The plan for this stack is probably all going to get 9s. If we get 1 or 2 10s, it would be extremely lucky and really flip things around. But I think I could do well with 9s in these. This pile over here it's worth the risk. So these are key cards that are off-centered and also have some type of other issue, a corner, an edge, or something I don't like. So this Spider-Man black suit centering is spot on perfect. Corners are good, surface is good, but you won't be able to see it on this. I don't want to pull it out of the card saver because it's a pain in the butt to get out. There is a little edge ding down at the bottom here. So this moved it into this pile. Cap here. And some of these I moved into this pile because they're off-centered both ways. This pile of 9s, they're only OC one way or the other. Like left and right are good, but top and bottom is off. Or top and bottom are good and left and right is off. This cap is thin on the right and thin on the top. So I think it's gonna make it near. This will never 10 in a million years. And this is I hope it gets a 9 pile, but it's worth it. Because these in a 9 are still going to do really good. Cosmic Spider-Man, you could see way off right to left. Thor, this one was a slight corner issue. And regular Spider-Man off left to right and top to bottom. And it's pretty far off right to left. Some of it's also, if it, not centering 2 ways, but it's really far off one way. Like this one's pretty far off right to left. Same with this Cosmic Spider-Man. It is very thin on the left. But I saw one of these that looked just like this today in a PSA 9 sell for $1,000. So worth it. I am not sure how I will send these yet. These might also go via regular submission at $50 a card and see what happens. I am not sending these all at once. I am typically risk averse, or at least try to be. So I am not going to go completely buck wild and have thousands of dollars of PSA grading fees hanging over my head. I have the first order that I sent out that I did the preview video for last week of the Wolverines and Venoms from Series 2, a brown suit Wolverine, and a Venom from Series 1. These 5, the A-list tier, will go out super express. Probably has already gone out by the time you're seeing this video, most likely. I will then kind of reevaluate from there, but I would like to get the next batch out sooner than later. I may end up sending them together. Send the Super Express order packaged in it with either an express or regular. I don't know yet. Probably express for some of this. I got to look for some of this stuff. And then the stuff that I don't think will 10, I will probably send at regular $50 a card. So like this pile here, though I don't know. That's the part I still got to figure out. I just know that these 5 are going Super Express $200 level. The last pile we want to talk about is the pile of shame. I'm going to call this the pile of sadness. So this pretty thick stack is A-list stuff that did not make the cut. So these had multiple issues. This Stan Lee had a centering problem and a corner ding. And this maybe I would end up grading anyways, but I just don't know that it's worth it. It's probably an 8. With a centering and a corner ding, most of the stuff isn't going to hack it. Cosmic Spider-Man, this one of these, I don't remember which one. All 3 of my Cosmic Spider-Man, or actually all 4, had issues, either centering or otherwise. I picked the best one of the off-centered ones. That's the one that you guys saw on the card saver. These 3 all have significant centering issues, and one of them has a very significant edge ding. A decent amount of cards that I pulled were in pretty good shape overall. I did have a couple packs where like the whole pack had a corner ding. And then I had a few where they had an edge issue. And one of these is that. This guy is super off-centered, and I see if I can pick it up on camera. See the Marvel logo? There's like a smudge around the A and the R. See how it looks there and see how it looks there? So this is toast. This one's slightly off-centered and also a soft corner. Top right corner was a little soft on this one. These 2 patches was a little unfortunate, and I don't know. This might slip past them. I don't know. I caught it right away. I don't know how well. See right there? There's like a white circle right on the corner of the sleeve right there. So 2 of them had that. I got 4 patches. One is really clean or pretty clean. It's a little off centered. So 2 of them had that mark. And this one did not have that mark. And the one that I'm submitting did not have that mark. This one had a ripple in a corner, I believe. This one off centered and a soft corner. This was kind of sad. These 2 Wolverine brown suits are in pretty sharp shape. They're very slightly off centered, but they both have corner creases. I don't know if this will pick up on camera or not. Right there. See the edge of the glare? How it's circling around right there? Right at the corner of the sleeve. Right there. So both these cards have that identical issue. I don't know if it was just something with the way they were coming off the printer that day or what the deal was. But both of them had that issue, so they got eliminated because of that, and they're also slightly off center. But stuff like that will hurt you worse than a lot of other stuff. That corner dings, rounding, whitening, any sort of edge wear, stuff like that's a death knell for a PSA 10. And that honestly, I think would immediately drop it to an 8. Plus with the slight centering issues. If this card was dead centered perfect, maybe, but I think they would automatically knock me down to an 8 for that wave. This cap had a soft corner and is off centered 2 directions. Both my Iron Man, they're both extremely off centered, and one had a major edge issue, like where a good portion of the card was lifting up. Thor off centered and a corner issue. Daredevil off centered and a corner issue. This cap off centered and a corner issue, I think. Yeah. Hulk off centered top to bottom. And there was a corner issue as well. I don't remember where. One of these cards has a big mark on the back. I just don't remember which one it is. Same thing here. Pretty far off centered and also had a corner issue. You can see, look at how thin that is at the top. That's 0 chance at a 10, and you're praying for a 9 if everything else is perfect when it's that far off. This one was off centered and had a creased corner. And then both Doctor Strange off centered, left to right, and top to bottom. Like I said, it's just really rough when they're off centered both ways. And this also both those had some other issues going on. I just don't remember what they were. So that's the pile of shame. So we have 5 cards, like high end express order type cards. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 second tier cards that I think have a legit shot at a PSA 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that are 8 keys that are probably PSA 9s. And I'll be lucky if I could pull a 10 out of this pile. I'm hoping for all 9s. And maybe I get like 1 10, 2 10s. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's I'm praying for a PSA 10 and nothing lower, but it's worth it due to how important the cards are, because they are definitely keys, and I'm risking it for the PSA 9, but it's worth the risk. Because even if 2 of these came back a PSA 9 and the others came back PSA 8s, I would be fine. So doing the math, and I don't like to do this because this is purely speculative, because I have no idea what the market's going to look like by the time I get this stuff back. So we're not going to do some spreadsheet deep dive here. But, and this math's also tricky. My cost, I have 2 boxes of this. One I ripped, one I kept sealed. My cost basis on average across the 2 boxes is $700. I bought one for $100 and one for $1,300. I ripped the one that I bought for $100, but I could have, at the time that I ripped it, I could have easily sold that box for $2,500 probably probably 2K, 2,200 after eBay fees and everything if I went that route. So in theory, my opportunity cost was $2,000 because I could have just sold the box for 2,000 to 2,200. And then I'm going to have, so just for this pile alone, that's $1,000 in grading fees. So now I'm up to $3,200 before I've touched anything else. So assuming, let's pretend the market pulls back a little bit. The last sale on this was $2,200. If I send these Super Express, it's probably going to be about 2 weeks door to door before I get it back, most likely. So let's say the market pulls back a little bit and I could get $1,500 for these. And let's assume that day 10. Once again, I hate doing this because it's too much guesswork. So assume they get PSA 10s, and let's say I could get $1,500 for them after eBay fees. So I'm dropping 700 below comps, or let's call it 600 below comps, plus I'm taking out a little bit for eBay fees. So 1,500, 3, 4,500. Let's say this comes back at 10. Maybe $2,000, 6,500. This I'm thinking this is going to 9. Let's say 700. So 3, 45, 65. Let's just call it 500, 7K. Maybe. Once again, that's assuming so much. That's why I hate doing it this way. And I don't like when people do breakdowns like this and they make assumptions about what they are going to sell the card for. You're living in fairy tale land. Because you haven't actually sold it yet. You don't make a profit until you actually make a profit. So you can put numbers on paper. It's all fake until you actually confirm the sale, it ships, and it doesn't get returned. So I hate even speculating like this. But what I just worked out right there, this pile of 5 cards out of a $2,000 box at today's current prices could be up to $7,000. So subtract out 2,000 for the box, 1,000 for grading, sell this pile for 7,000. I'm up 4,000 and I still have all this. So that's why box prices are going what they're going for. Because if this comes back and I can pull all that off, which is a lot of ifs, I'll be hoping to this pile right here with grading fees. If this can make me a little bit of profit over the cost of the box plus the grading fees, which it should be able to easily do. I think even in PSA 9s, this whole pile is probably worth at least 3K. Even if that just gets me all back to even, I still have all this to play with. I still got to put work in. This stuff still all needs graded. That still all needs paid for. So we'll see what happens. Now, I could sell some of this stuff raw. I could start working off dupes, making piles, selling things off, and kind of nickel and dime my way out of it. What I'm probably going to do with a large portion of this, the first thing I'm going to do is try to put a clean set together. The set that I own is beat to hell because it's from when I was 10. So I'm going to put a clean set together to go with my set as a kid. And then I'm going to kind of work through it from there. So if I could get these back in 10 business days, I will already have a second sub behind it or with it of other stuff at a cheaper rate coming behind that. I will then probably hold off on sending anything else until these 5 get back and I can move some of them. Ideally, I wouldn't mind keeping, if all 3 of these got 10s, I would like to keep 1 of the Spider-Man black suits. I have it in the back of my mind to potentially try to chase a PSA set of this. That's a ton of work, and that is a long-term project. So I don't know that I'm going to do that, but it's floating around back there. So we'll see what happens. But I hope this was helpful. This is a full, complete breakdown of a 90 Marvel Series 1 box from a grading, flipping / profit perspective. So ideally, these 5 cards graded in a perfect world pay for all this and make a profit off of it. Then I still have all this to work the edges with. So, but this could have easily went sideways. You know, if I don't hit these 3 black suits with dead on centering, this gets scary real quick. Then you're in the, boy, I hope some of these stuff comes back. I hope some of this 9 pile comes back 10 pile, which is fine. But stuff like this gets you out of your hole real fast when you're talking about, 2K a card in PSA 10. So updates to come. I will probably do an official PSA submission preview video showing exactly what's going out in that sub in a couple days here. But that's all I got for you. If you guys got questions, leave them in the comments down below. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.